Here, this is Lord Potato, and this is what if Naruto was trained by Obito slash Tobi, part, wait, part 5, and I am going to try to end the series in part 5, but if I can, it'll probably be part 6. But other than that, let me not do a recap because it's been how long from the last time? 2 weeks. Uh, so yeah. Also, I was kind of playing One Piece. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. When I was kind of hearing this, and I had the volume way too loud. But other than that, let me go into where I last left it off. Oh, before I do that, go subscribe to Anime Sensei, Iconic What Ifs, and Obito What Ifs. I'm just saying, so yeah. Also, the links will be in the description, but yeah, my second channel will also be there. Other than that, let me continue where I last left it off. So, of course, with Naruto, is now, 17 years old. So, I did a 4-year time skip. So, of course, Naruto was 13 and even Raven was 13. Now they're actually 17. Naruto is 6'3", while Raven is 5, I think I say 5'8", 5'9". I think it's 5'9". She is 5'9". Of course, with that happening, Naruto. So yeah, 4-year time skip with Jiraiya, and of course, Raven also came along. But yeah, now they are way stronger, and Naruto's still Jonin level, of course, because he was ranked up to be Jonin, and also Raven is still Chunin. So, of course, this is where Tsunade sees Naruto for the first time and decides to put Naruto in a team. Now, of course, the team between Sakura and Kakashi and all them others was not actually the team that they were put on, were really just tested on. Because even though Kakashi is the strongest, Naruto does not want to fight him. He is wanting to fight him, kick his ass, and murder him, mostly kill him. But Tsunade doesn't want Naruto to kill Kakashi, mostly test out his skills. So, of course, the Jonin Sensei they still are going against is Kakashi Atake. Of course, Raven and Naruto are going against him. Of course, Tsunade also, she didn't really train Sakura. She trained someone else that actually wanted to be more of a medical ninja and actually do this for the right purpose instead of Sakura wanting to become stronger for Sasuke. And of course, this is where this girl is named Ruby. Her hair is kind of having highlights of red and also kind of black. Her eyes are silver a little bit. Silver. I'm gonna say silver. And of course, this is where she wanted to somewhat be a medical ninja to help people. So of course, this is where she is on the team with what's called Naruto and Raven. Now, of course, Ruby never met Raven, she met Raven before she left and became a Chunin and other things. But they were kind of when they were 8 years old. So of course, both Raven and Ruby kind of barely know each other, kind of. And Naruto just over here waiting to kick the shit out of Kakashi. Now, I should mention one thing. Naruto's hair has become longer. And it's also much darker. So he does have black hair. Of course, it's also longer. It kind of looks like Mother Uchiha's hair, but yeah. Just not that long, but it's just kind of long. Of course, this is where it's still kind of spiky. And he's just getting ready. Now, of course, Naruto has a black jacket, a black shirt, black coat, black pants, and black boots. So yeah, that's what he's wearing. Also has 2 katanas on his back. There's 2 black katanas. One is shorter than the other, but yeah. So one is medium, one is large. So yeah. Of course, this is where Raven, she has 2 tantos, and of course, it's basically on her side, but yeah. She is wearing a black jacket, a fish net underneath the black jacket, but yeah, of course she does have a shirt and all that. And of course she does have her black jacket, black pants, and black sandals. And of course, her hair is longer than when she was like 13. Of course, she has bright red eyes, like ruby kind of red eye color. And of course, she is kind of like next to Naruto, very close to Naruto. Because they actually started kind of, well, dating. And of course, Jiraiya tried to peep on that, but this one Naruto always kicked him out, but yeah. Now, of course, this is where her abilities had become stronger in her clan, so yeah. Of course, Naruto's abilities with his Sharingan are also strong, but he doesn't actually use his Sharingan that much. He usually fights without using his Sharingan, but when he uses his Sharingan, everything increases. And also, he can go into a KCM somewhat. A somewhat version of a case, well, not KCM. He can go actually into a 5-toe cloak without losing control. Now, of course, Raven is not scared of Naruto's kind of 9 toes. Instead, she actually likes the 9 toes because they look like a fluffy fox for her. But yeah. Now, of course, this is where Ruby, her abilities is actually, well, her weapon she actually uses is a scythe. And of course, she does use her hands for, well, punch closer because of she has that kind of Tsunade of strength. She was actually training under Tsunade. Of course, she's also a medical ninja. But instead of her diamond kind of being like purple on her, well, not purple, green like Tsunade's, or wait, instead of it being blue, it's actually kind of a silver color. And of course, her silver eyes are actually kind of special, but yeah. What's it called? She comes from actually somewhat of a clan. Her clan actually specialized in what's it called? Well, using rose petals in their kind of juices, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, she also has something else to use, but secretly. But of course, she is right now just wearing a kind of black, well, somewhat of a black coat, not black coat, a kind of black jacket, kind of a dress. She doesn't really wear like pants or anything. What she does is kind of like leggings and all that. Of course, she wears like a red and kind of black coat, like a coat just to cover up and all that, a hood and all that. And of course, she does wear what's called red sandals. So yeah. Of course, her headband is right now on her, well, like arm, her shoulder. And of course, Raven's headband is also on her shoulder. And this is where Naruto has his headband, like, on one of his swords. Like, he just ties it around there. Mostly on, well, not on his shirt, what's it called, on one of his swords. He mostly has it on his head, just in case, well, any attacks would try to hit, because it's pure fucking metal, so I mean, it won't stab into his head, so yeah. Of course, this is where they're waiting for their kind of instructor they have to train against, or fight against, mostly, to see how strong they are. This is where Kakashi finally arrives and says, "Hey, Naruto, it's me." This is where Naruto was so close in grabbing his sword and cutting off Kakashi's head. Because he still does not respect Kakashi at all. Now, of course, I should mention one thing. I think I did kill Sasuke last episode. I don't remember. But yeah, Sasuke is kind of dead in this one, but yeah. Now, well, not dead. I'm actually going to say he's alive, so yeah. Of course, this is where Kakashi says, "So, it seems that we're going to see what your skills are, right, Naruto?" This is where Naruto kind of glares at him. Raven also glares at him, and Ruby just looks at him and kind of just waves. She doesn't really know what happened with Naruto and Kakashi, so she just waves at Kakashi. Kakashi, like, eye smile, says, "Okay, then let's begin." This is where he's still reading his book, because he doesn't know how strong Naruto, Raven, or Ruby are. So, of course, then again, he doesn't actually know if they actually will work as a team. This is where Tsunade tells him to begin, so yeah. This is where, well, Naruto just tells us to call, like, gives a hand signal to Raven and Ruby to, like, just jump away. Of course, they jump away and hide, and this is where they're kind of hiding their presence. This is where, well, Kakashi is trying to sense them and sees that they are very, very, like, no chakra is leaking out nor nothing. He is pretty impressed and pretty scared at the same time. He's unaged. Of course, with that happening, this is where, well, Naruto He's talking to Ruby and Raven about how this team is gonna work. Well, mostly how he is trying to learn about, well, Ruby's abilities. Ruby is just telling him about basics about like medical jutsu, and of course her hunger healings, and also, well, she can punch like Tsunade because she's trained with Tsunade. She also does talk about her clan, and yeah, Raven already knows what to call Naruto skills, and Naruto also know about Raven's skills. Of course, not all of it, but yeah. That's where Naruto says, "Wait, Ruby, you said you can use rose petals, right? Can you use them to make like a tornado around your opponent?" Ruby says, "Kinda. I first have to litter around what's called rose petals around what's it called, well, the person. And then I can use those rose petals to kind of either make a genjutsu or make a tornado around them." So Naruto says, "I see. So if we kind of tries to, well, how many rose petals do you actually have?" Tons." "And what? In the scroll." "How many scrolls?" "A couple. Why? Can't you just like throw them out and add chakra towards them and start just poofing out the rose petals?" This is where, well, she then thinks about it and say, "Yeah, I can." So of course she does that and throws rose petals at Kakashi. And of course Kakashi's confused. He kind of just swipes the rose petals and nothing's happening. This is where he's saying, "Huh, that girl really does seem to just give out rose petals, I guess." This is where, well, then Ruby kind of goes to hand signs and says, "Rose petal style, tornado." This is where rose petals started picking up and started just kind of going around Kakashi. Kakashi's confused, like, what the distraction? This is where he tries to send a fire attack at the rose, well, mostly tornado. When he sends a fire attack, it actually just, the vacuum inside of tornadoes pretty damn strong, so it just sucks in all the oxygen out of the, what's it called, fireball, destroying in an instant. This is where Kakashi widened his eyes. This is where he started holding his breath. This is where Naruto says, "Okay, Raven, you got this, right?" Raven says, "Yeah, I do." She then says, "Darkness style. Darkness, darkness grab." This is where multiple, like, darkness tentacles started appearing near Kakashi and started grabbing him from his arms and legs, and Kakashi says, "Damn it. Damn, I can't get out." This is where Naruto says, "Ruby, I need you to dispel the jutsu." This is where Ruby says, "Are you sure?" "Yeah, you do." This is where Ruby says, "Fine." This is where Naruto, he activated his eyes and grabbed one of his swords and added, well, extreme amount of, well, red flames into it. Into, well, not red flames, into turning it into flames and then transforming it into red and blue flames. Combining those blue and red flames to make purple flames and rushes at Kakashi. Kakashi widens his eyes, and when Naruto got close, he slices at Kakashi. Kakashi's, what's it called, like, chest kind of started bleeding. This is where what kind of stopped bleeding, because when it cut, it kind of, like, made the blood kind of stiffen, and yeah. It's just Kakashi was hurt really bad. He was like, "Huh." Luckily, he didn't manage to. This is where Naruto transformed the fire out of, well, fire set, and turned into lightning and slices at Kakashi multiple times without Kakashi even realizing. Kakashi goes, "Naruto, why?" He passes out. This is where Tsunade is very impressed with their teamwork and decides to make them the new Team 7. Now, of course, Naruto smiles and just says, "Yay, we did it." Raven says, "At least we didn't need to show off that many skills." This is where, well, Ruby was saying, "Whoa, that was very amazing. You know, that was also kind of mean at our sensei." Naruto says, "He's a dickhead. Doesn't matter about him." So, yeah. This is where Kakashi says, "I need healing." Naruto says, you should leave him alone, Ruby." That's why Naruto put his hand over Ruby and says, "Yeah, you should just leave him alone. So he's fine. Those cuts weren't deep." Kakashi's saying, "They're deep. Help." That's why Ruby is wondering what's happening until, well, Raven kind of got her, kind of grabbed her hand and kind of like pulled her towards her. And so Naruto was right now next to Kakashi. Raven was right now telling Ruby about what happened between Kakashi and Naruto. And she's kind of also saddened at the fact that Kakashi Hatake left his student to kind of die and told him to only give up because he was not strong enough. And he didn't even train his students. Of course, she does feel bad for Naruto. And of course, Naruto kind of says, so, Kakashi, if you trip a little bit more blood and just lose a little bit more blood, you're gonna die, right? Kakashi goes, of course I know that. Come on, Naruto. You're my student, right? Naruto says, student? Student? Yeah, right. I'm not your student. This is where Jiraiya is pretty impressed with the teamwork. Like, they were doing it super fast. Of course, Tsunade is also impressed. And this is where Tsunade says, so, Void, how do you like your daughter's strength now? And also your son-in-law's strength? This is where Void, a person with a Shinigami mask and a black cloak, appears next to Tsunade. And, Shizune was kind of next to, Jiraiya. This is where Tsunade knew who Void was. This is where, Void said, oh, I'm very happy for my granddaughter and her kind of, mostly her boyfriend. But yeah, this is where it takes off the mask and it shows to be Karasu, meaning Raven's grandfather. So, if you're wondering who it was to kind of save them from the Akatsu's, basically, yeah, Karasu. This is where Tsunade found Karasu to be Void a long time ago from some reports, but yeah. Some reports of him being a ninja one time. Or not one time, multiple times when he was kind of younger. Him wearing a Shinigami mask, a black cloak, and him being able to be not hit by anything because of his clan. The Yami clan was specialized in darkness, so of course, he was able to go into places really fast, transform into darkness, transform himself into darkness, and being untouchable from getting hit by anything if he's in the night or darkness or anything like that. But if he's in the day, he can't get hit by anything. Well, can't. In the night, he can't be getting hit by anything. Of course, Karasu's eyes are actually an orangey type of color. This is where, Tsunade says, at least you see your granddaughter and her friend, mostly Naruto, getting really along, really close. This is where Karasu says, yeah, that is true. I can't wait to see their kids when they're older. This is where, Tsunade says, do you think you will live that long? This is where Karasu, even though I'm kind of older than you, Tsunade, like 60, kind of like the same age as what's called Haruzen, I'm still will love to see what's called their grandkids. And nothing will stop me. Not even death himself. Tsunade says, I mean, that is true. I guess that is true. This is where, Naruto is right now just talking to, Raven and Ruby. And of course, Kakashi's gone. I need help. This is where Shizune goes down and starts healing him. But of course, this is where Kakashi says, thanks. This is where Shizune kind of twisted one of his arms and says, don't you dare say anything. Shizune has this kind of death glare at Kakashi. Because everyone in the village, even Tsunade and Shizune, heard about what Kakashi has done. And of course, they still kind of keep him as being a Jonin sensei. And of course, this is where Kakashi says, come on, Shizune. Don't you dare call me that, Shizune says. This is where Kakashi says, yeah, sorry about that. So Shizune heals him as best as she can, but yeah. This is where Kakashi woke up and says, so Naruto, what team are we gonna go on for Team 7? Naruto pulls out his blade right towards his neck and says, I'm not being on your team. This is only a test. I'm not on your team fully. Besides, whoever said you were gonna be the captain on this team? This is where Kakashi says, but let's make a vote then. Who wants to be on Team 7 and let him be on Team 7? Kakashi was the only one to raise his hand. Karasu was there. He kind of glares at Kakashi. Tsunade says, don't kill him. I know the fact that Naruto doesn't like him. And I know you did kind of fuck him up when he didn't leave Naruto alone. This is where Karasu says, how about this, Lady Tsunade? can I be on my, well, granddaughter's kind of team and getting rid of Kakashi? That means you're gonna have to be a ninja again, don't you think? Or I could just be disguised as, well, the ninja called Void. Fine. I'll let you be called Void. This is where Kakashi says, oh, come on. None of you are going to be voting. This is where Void appears, because Void disappears from Tsunade and appears right in the middle next to Kakashi. Well, behind Kakashi because of his shadow. This is where Void says, no one wants to be in your team because you're nothing but a pathetic loser going after, well, just one of your students. This is where Kakashi turns around, but this is where he gets hit in the face and launched into a tree in the back of Karasu's fist hand. This is where, well, Raven was wiping her eyes because she kind of noticed that technique, and she was like, who is this dude? This is where, well, this person says, my name is Void, and I'm gonna be your new Jonin sensei. Even though some of you are already Jonin/tuning, but you three will still be under my protection. That's where Raven says, so do you know our... That's where Karasu says, yes. Since I am Void, I'm a special type of Jonin. And I'm going to already know your names. Naruto Uchiha. Well, Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha. Raven Yami. And Ruby... This is where he says Ruby Bara. This is where, well, all of them looks at, well, this person named Void. And of course Void says, don't worry, you can trust me. I'm not going to be like that Hatake and not train you all. Besides, I think some of you won't even need training from me. This is where all of them nodded. And this is Tsunade says, yes, Void here will be your new Jonin sensei. Any team, what's it called, any special missions that will go on will be through Karasu. So, are you all ready for being, well, what's it called, getting ready for missions? This is where Naruto says, sure. Raven says, sure. And this is where Ruby says, yeah. She's kind of a go-lucky version. Well, yeah, go-lucky. So this is where go-lucky kid or whatever. This is where, well, that happens. And of course, this is where, well, the next day happens, and of course, is where Tsunade does get a message from, well, not the Kazekage, mostly the Sand Village about the Kazekage being taken by, well, the Akashis. This is where Naruto, Raven, and even Ruby, and even Void are having to go towards the Sand Village. Now, of course, this is where Naruto, he goes through hand signs when they're at the front gate, or the gate south, or whatever, I think it's points. Of course, this is where Naruto summons out something special that both Ruby and Karasu widen their eyes. This is where, well, Naruto summons out, well, a dragon. He summons out this blue dragon that is actually willing to help Naruto to bring him towards the place. So, of course, Ruby, Raven, Naruto, and Karasu goes on the dragon. And, of course, the dragon takes him towards Suna. Now, of course, they get to Suna faster than just an original canon. And, of course, this is where they meet what's called, Tamari. And Tamari is, what's it called, saying that, what's it called, the Akashi is attacked. This is where Kankuro is here. He is having poison and he needs medical attention. This is where Ruby says, I'll be the one to help him. So, yeah. Of course, she starts healing Kankuro. But this is where Naruto says, where do you think they would have went? This is where Tamari says, I don't know. Kankuro will probably know better. This is where, well, Kankuro says where it will be at. Of course, Karasu, Naruto, Raven, and Ruby gets ready. Of course, this is where Shizune, or not Shizune, Chill, whatever her name, the old lady comes along. Of course, they ride on the dragon, and Chill is surprised to see a dragon summoning contract. This is where, well, they get to the cave, and of course, Naruto says, lightning dragon, send a lightning bolt into it. Since a lightning bolt crashes through the rock and hits both Deidara and Sasori. This is where they kind of get paralyzed. And of course, they couldn't extract the wingtails that much, so of course, they're actually struggling with this. So of course, this is where Deidara tries to take Gaara onto the bird, but when he sees the lightning dragon, he says, "Fuck!" Lightning dragon blast, boom, gets hit by lightning. Of course, the bird just tries to go down. Of course, Deidara cannot say hi, and right now he's paralyzed also. Of course, Deidara does let go of Gaara mid-air, and Naruto does manage to catch him. Karasu, Raven, and Ruby, and even Chin, whatever her name is, start going against Sasori. This is where Naruto and Deidara starts fighting. Now, Naruto, he uses Crimson Red Flame to hit Deidara, but Deidara tries to use this explosion to Kai and blow up Naruto, until Naruto uses lightning to paralyze all the birds, and then says, lightning style. Lightning piercing heart. That's where he pierces Deidara, and Deidara goes, I guess I'm dead. So yeah, he dies. That's where Naruto realized one thing from Deidara. It was actually a clay person. That's where Naruto takes out his hand and says lightning style, lightning shurikens, and throws it to the real Deidara, because when Naruto activated his EMS Sharingan, he found out where Deidara was before Deidara can say Kai. This is where Deidara's head was cut off from the lightning shurikens. But yeah, this is where, next was what's called Sasori. Sasori actually gets killed by, Raven and Ruby, because they both work together really good, and they actually managed to kill Sasori. Chio saw that Gaara is still alive, so she doesn't really sacrifice her life. So, of course, I only managed to take what's called 10% of the Ichibai, but yeah. Or, not the Ichibai, the Ichibai is the Three Toes. The Shikaku. So, of course, this is where, Gaara is happy and thanks Naruto for a lot, and yeah. So, of course, this is where, Gaara is very happy and does, thank, what's called the Leaf Village, but yeah. Now, of course, when Naruto is leaving from Suna, of course, on the dragon, this is where Naruto kind of gets back to the Leaf Village, and this is where Naruto goes to the same forest that his brother was at. This is where Obito appears, saying hello there, little brother. This is where Naruto goes up to Obito, and of course, this is where he hugs Obito. But this Naruto is actually taller than Obito, and of course, Obito says, "I would say big brother, but you're still my youngest one." This is where Naruto says, "Where have you been? I haven't seen you even if I travel with Jiraiya." This is where, Obito says, "Oh, doing something special. It's just some things I needed to take care of." This is where Naruto can see Obito is kind of lying, because Naruto has gotten better and figuring out who people are lying. Naruto says, "Liar." So Obito says, "I'm not lying." Then Naruto says, "Are you in the organization called the Akatsuki?" Obito says, "No." That's where Naruto says, "Liar, you are." So, all this time, are you trying to take the Nine Tails away from me and kill me? Obito kind of grabs his heart and doesn't want to really kill Naruto. That's where Obito says, "No, I don't. It's just part of a plan that Madara asked me to." That's where Obito is struggling the worst and to say anything. That's where Obito says, "I guess you know the secret. I'm sorry, little brother." He then teleports away, but yeah. That's where, Naruto says, "Obito, damn it." This is where someone actually notices. And this person was, Raven. She actually followed Naruto to see where Naruto was going, because Raven did ask Naruto if he wanted to go towards the Yami clan, but Naruto went somewhere else. Of course, this is where Naruto says, "Damn it. Sorry there, little bro. I can't let you take the Nine Tails away from me." This is where Raven says, Are you okay, Naruto?" Naruto turns around and says, "Raven, yeah, I'm okay." That's where Raven says. So, of course, this is where, Raven says, "You're not okay. I saw him." This is where Naruto says, "Saw who?" This is where Raven says, "Your brother. So I guess he is part of that organization that Jiraiya has been telling us about. That's where Naruto says, I wish he wasn't. Damn it. That's where I would say, don't beat yourself up, okay, Naruto? Maybe we'll find a way. Mr. Naruto says, I hope so. That's where, well, we go into a time skip about, 5 months. Naruto and Raven, even Ruby, went to go on some missions, like helping a princess or kind of a priestess named Shina or Shin. Oh wait, let me. To protect Shin, no Shino. I keep forgetting their freaking names are so weird. Shin, and of course Shin did ask Naruto to help her with the next generation, and Naruto was not clueless this time and said no, and even Raven jumped in and said hell no. This is where, because both Raven and Naruto are kind of dating. So, of course, Karasu was kind of like chuckling and laughing, but yeah. Even Ruby was kind of clueless a little bit. She was confused, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, Naruto, he is, well, what's it called? Just back at the village, but yeah. 5 months kind of did pass until, well, a couple of months also did pass again, but Naruto also did already learn how to do what's called Sage Mode. But not as a Toad Sage Mode contract, mostly in the Dragon Sage Mode contract. So, of course, Naruto, he is able to activate his Sharingan using Dragon Sage Mode for chakra and to his eyes being kind of slick with the Sharingan. But yeah. Now, of course, it's actually an X because when he uses Kurama power in the Dragon Sage mode, it's an X. So, of course, it has his dojutsu also, but yeah. But, of course, this is where, well, Naruto has what's it called. Of course, this is where, well, Naruto has what's it called. Well, learned that. And, of course, let me go into another time skip about what's it called, another, well, not 5 months. About, well, 1 week. Of course, 1 week from disaster. Naruto is right now just talking to Raven. Of course, is where they got it so close, but yeah. And Ruby hasn't really found anyone except for Naruto when they're actually kind of friends. But yeah. Of course, is where, well, Ruby, Raven, and Naruto kind of all got closer, but yeah. Besides, Raven actually allowed Ruby to kind of be, yeah. So, of course, this is where, well, Naruto was in the village just talking to Ruby and Raven, but yeah. Of course, Karasu was kind of exposed one time. And just Raven kind of walked into Karasu's room, seeing the Shinigami mask and the cloak, and Karasu asleep. This is where Raven pieced things up together and realized that her grandfather's basically void. But yeah. Naruto also got told by this, even Ruby did get told by this by Raven, but yeah. So, of course, is where, well, not Ruby's closer to Naruto, just basically close to, like, having a sister and brother relationship, so yeah. But, of course, is where Raven is kind of like a sister for Ruby, but yeah. So, of course, this is where, well, that 1 week time skip later, and, of course, something happens. The village feels Shinrai Tensei. The whole village explodes into power, it just gets blown away. This is where multiple Akatsuki members are there. Every single Akatsuki member suffered death and sorcery because they're dead. This is where they came to get the Nine Tails. Now, of course, Kasame, he's there, but of course, this is where, well, Itachi's not there. Because Sasuke is the one being there. Now, of course, this is where, well, Obito didn't want, still kind of manipulate Sasuke to come along, but he didn't want him to kill Naruto. Instead, he actually had something planned else. So he also did tell what's called Black and White Sisters to come along, but yeah. This is where, well, all the Akatsuki members are there, even Kasame, being next to Obito, because Obito and Kasame were partnered. This is where everyone starts fighting as the Leaf Ninjas, mostly all Akatsuki members and all that. Naruto sees this and sees Obito. This is where, well, Obito and Naruto kind of looks at each other, and Naruto kind of just says, "Well, you really gonna kill me?" This is where Obito kind of gets that kind of flashback. that little memory of wording in his head. He doesn't want to kill his little brother. So of course, what he does is tell Kisame to kill the Akatsuki. This is where Kisame and Obito has been longtime friends, and Kisame already knew about the plan. This is where Obito was also thinking of getting rid of Sasuke. So yeah. So of course, this is where, well, he also was planning on getting rid of Black and White Zetsu. And this is where Naruto got teleported away by Obito saying Kamui. This is where Raven and Ruby were shocked, and this is where, well, Obito brought Naruto to the Kamui dimension. Naruto says, what the hell was that for? This is where, well, Obito says, calm down, little bro. This is where Obito takes off his mask, throws it on the ground, and this is where Obito says, I'm thinking of getting rid of all the Akatsuki. So I'm actually asking you for a little favor. Kill all the Akatsuki, even Sasuke and, well, even me. This is where Naruto says, no, I'm not gonna kill you. This is where Obito says, you have to. There's actually something I haven't told you. This is where Naruto says, what is that? I do have Madara's Uchiha cells inside me. I found that out when I was actually thinking more about you. I have also Hashirama cells. But the Uchiha cells are actually a thing that's kind of near my heart to actually explode if I ever betray Madara. So, I was trying to do this in secrecy, but I only have a couple of days left to live. That's why I brought all the Akatsuki members to fight against you. If you can find them all and just kill them now, then everything will go back to normal, and you can live finally happily with your girlfriend. That's where Naruto says, again. Well, then again, she is. But this is where Obito smiles and says, so, will you do it? Naruto says, fine. This is where, well, Obito says, good. This is where Obito teleports back Naruto back to the battlefield. And of course, Raven and Ruby are right now fighting against what's called, well, some of Sasuke's teammates, like Karin and what's called Jugo. Yeah, Jugo and Sugetsu. This is where, not Sugetsu, yeah, Sugetsu, not Sangetsu, Sugetsu. And of course, this is where, well, Sasuke was actually thinking of killing Raven because basically it's Naruto's friend and all that, whatever. And of course, this is where Naruto appears and says, no, the hell you don't. Fire style, water style, blades, cutting, ow, ow, ow. Oops. I kind of hit the wall a little bit, but oops. But of course, this is where Naruto says water style, fire style, cutting twin blades. Cuts at what's called an X into, well, Sasuke. This is where Karin says no. This is where Karin, before even running towards Sasuke, she gets killed by, well, Ruby. If you heard that noise, that was just the Xbox. I'm downloading things. But, of course, not Ruby, mostly Raven. Raven appeared next to her, using the shadow underneath what's it called, well, Karin, and slicing her throat, mostly slicing her throat. This is where, well, Jugo then attacks what's called Ruby, well, not Ruby, Raven, until Ruby kind of just uses her silver eyes. Her silver eyes actually has something special. She can actually add chakra and send actually a laser beam out of her eyes, but instead of this laser beam cutting through anything and obliterating anything, she can actually turn people to stone, like this white light. This is where, well, she turned Jugo into stone. And of course, Raven broke it. This is where Sugetsu then attacked what's called both Ruby and Raven. This is where Raven uses darkness tentacles to try to grab what's called, well, Sugetsu. Of course, they all go through him because he's made out of water. And then Ruby uses her eyes to kind of turn him to stone, kind of killing him also. This is where Naruto decides to stab at Sasuke's head to kind of fully end his life. This is where Naruto then starts rushing at the other Akatsuki members. He sees what's it called, well, a plant-like Akatsuki member, and Obito did tell him that this kind of plant-like is the one who's been manipulating everything. So this is where Naruto rushes at, well, the plant-like one. Of course, this is where Kakuzu and Hidan appears, trying to cut at Naruto, and Naruto says, burning rage, burning red flame rage. This is where both the swords ignite into red flames and rushes at Kakuzu and, well, Hidan, blitzing them so easily. This is where he cuts through multiple times at Kakuzu actually managed to hit with the Kakuzu's hearts. A couple, three of them. This is where Naruto realized that he didn't really fully kill Kakuzu. And this is where Naruto says, 1,000 blades. Well, not 1,000 blades. 1,000 cuts of burning, not burning rage. 1,000 cuts of red flame cutting style. This is where he cuts multiple times at Kakuzu and does actually cut all his hearts and breaks them, killing Kakuzu. Hida, on the other hand, was right now just cut into a million pieces, but yeah. Of course, his head says, "What the hell? You little..." This is where Naruto grabs his head and throws it into a portal because Naruto can actually teleport things with his EMS. This is where Naruto keeps running around, seeing the plant-like, and this is where Naruto says, "Amaterasu," hits the plant-like, and this is where not Obito, mostly Black and White Zetsu are right now burning, and this is where Naruto says, "Sealing style." He grabs actually like a knife from the ground, and stabs what's called Black and White Zetsu, saying sealing style, sealing inside this weapon. That's where he seals Black and White Zetsu, and then just throw him into another dimension. So yeah. But this dimension was, Naruto can actually figure out dimensions. Even though it's not a common, he can just figure them out by thinking of like a dimension. He threw both Hidan and the knife into, a dimension full of fire, just full of lava. Now, of course, this is where, they kind of just start burning for and turning, but yeah. And of course, this is where, Naruto kind of keeps going to, find out more of the Akashi members, but yeah. The next Akashi member that he meets is Kisame, but Kisame is right now cutting through some of the, the passive pain. This is where the passive pain realized that Kisame is betraying them, but yeah. He cut through like 3 passive pain until this is where the Diva Pass says Shindra Tensei, until Naruto, he uses his eye to kind of phase through it using Kamui. Because, yes, he has almost all abilities. And this is where Naruto managed to connect his eye with what's called the Rinnegan and his EMS. And says, water drowning Genjutsu. This is where Nagato is feeling like he's drowning. And of course, he's coughing up like he thinks he's like fully drowning and all that. Because he managed to connect. And this is where the 6 passive pain kind of just dropped because they're only puppets. Right now, Nagato cannot control the puppets. This is where Naruto cuts them all down. And this is where Naruto says, "I gotta keep going." This is where Kisame says, "Before you go, I know your brother did tell me that I'll be fighting towards my death. So bring it on, Naruto." And Naruto's a Maki Uchiha. This is where Naruto realized that he had to go against Kisame. So of course, Naruto, he wanted to end this very quick. So of course, Naruto activated his Sage Mode, his, KCM, because he actually managed to master KCM. And of course, this is where he also activated his eyes, his EMS. But this is where his eyes started hurting really bad because he didn't want to kill Obito. In his head, he really had the image of not wanting to kill Obito. This is where his eyes started burning and hurting more. And this is where it transformed into the Rinnegan. The Rinnegan. So it becomes this Rinnegan. And then it just transformed into, having the black rings and all that, to having like this color. And then it just transformed red. So yeah. He transformed his eyes that color and had them an X pattern. Instead of being a dot, it's an X pattern because of Kurama's power and also the, basically, KCM. And of course, his KCM kind of looks like this. Well, not KCM, of Kurama's power and the Sage Mode, but yeah, this is what his KCM looked like. Now, of course, he then felt the rush of power, and he accidentally did this on accident, not on purpose, because he was thinking way too much of Obito. He didn't want to kill him. So, of course, this is where Naruto rushes at Kisame. Kisame says, "Whoa, you became stronger. Let me go into my final form." He merges with Samahara to become stronger, and of course, a water dome appears. This is where both Naruto and Kisame clash. Of course, taking about 10 minutes and fighting because their powers were so much equal alike. Even if Kisame tried to drain, Kisame tried to drain so much chakra from his chakra felt like it was burning if he tried to drain it. So of course, Kisame was burning from the inside because even though it felt like what's called sharp cuts when he tries to even grab Naruto, because Naruto's form is kind of merged with fire and water chakra. Like if you try to drain it, you will be getting cut by the outside, but from the inside you'll be getting burnt. So this is why Kasami couldn't last that long and actually got burnt to a crisp from the inside and died. This is where, well, Naruto says, well, rest in peace. This is where Naruto looked for what's it called, Nagato and Conan, and Nagato says, my past, they're gone. This is where when Naruto activated the Rinnegan, the Genjutsu did got destroyed because it kind of just got kind of, well, Nagato got free to from the Genjutsu. This is where Naruto found where Nagato and Konoha were at, and Naruto appeared right in front of them really fast, and this is where Naruto says water style, water bullet jags, what's it called, water jagged spears, fire crimson sword. This is where he sends multiple water jagged spears at Conan, hitting her, and of course, actually she couldn't transform to paper. Well, she tried, but of course, the paper was wet from the water, and of course she was stabbed multiple times. She was killed. This is where Naruto got angry and says, Shinrai Tensai! This is where Naruto says, oh no you don't. This is where, well, his sword actually cut through the Shinrai Tensai, the crimson red flames, because they transform into black flames. This is where, well, Naruto says, I will kill you. This is where Nagato says, I'm a god and I won't be going down toward them more. He dies. His head got cut off. Naruto was right now next to him. There, Naruto's sword, the kind of black sword, kind of just vanished. This is where Naruto says, damn, I have to kill Obito. Obito was right now just sitting on one of the buildings, just waiting for Naruto to kill him. This is where Naruto appears right next to him. This is where Naruto says, I don't want to kill you. This is where Obito says, I know, little brother. I wouldn't want to kill myself neither. Even if I knew that I was going to, well, know that I had a little brother. This is where Kakashi right now widened his eyes when he saw Obito right now talking to Naruto. He thought he was illusioning things. This is where Naruto says, I just don't want to. This is where Naruto says, only if I had the power. This is where Kurama just says, you do have the power, you idiot. This is where Naruto says, what do you mean? Your eyes, they change to the Rinnegan. A very special color of the Rinnegan. Didn't actually notice that. But look at your eyes. Look in some glass, because there was some glass next to him. Because everything kind of flew back and all that. And of course, Naruto did grab it and saw his eyes. This is where, well, Kurama says, I think there's a way for this. Add some of my chakra. You're still in KCM though. Add some of my chakra and use the Rinnegan to push any cells that were in what's called Obito, your brother, and get rid of every bad cell. And get rid of any cell that had inside his heart to be a seal or anything like that. So what Naruto does is put his hands onto Obito, and Obito said, you're just gonna miss me, don't you? That's why Naruto says, shush, I know what to do. He starts adding Kurama's chakra in it, and of course Kurama's chakra starts killing area of models like cells and all that. And of course Naruto found out the seal, and this is where Naruto put his hand onto Obito's heart. And this is where Naruto strains the seal that was kind of put into Obito's heart, and remove the seal tag, the seal that was on Obito's heart to explode any time, if he ever betrayed. This is where Obito was like, what the? Wait, did you? Naruto was right now breathing really hard, but yeah, because it was just tiring. But yeah, this is where Obito smiles and says, you did it. But why? That's where Naruto says, I'm not going to kill you. You were the first one to actually train me, help me, during when I had no one. This is where, well, Obito says, I guess so. Well, but do you realize I'm still a traitor to Konoha? This is where Naruto says, I don't care. This is where, well, Obito says, fine. Then, you better be grateful then. This is where, well, Naruto was grateful, and of course we go into about a couple of, months later. Obito was released because there was burning any crimes against him, but yeah. Of course, this is where Naruto was, what's it called? Now, well, a higher Jonin. He was actually considered to be the strongest Jonin in, what's it called, in the Leaf Village. So, of course, this is where, well, Naruto also found the Geto statue when he summoned it because he does have the Rinnegan. And, of course, this is where he released all the Bijus and destroyed the, what's it called, or the Geto statue by throwing it into the space. He actually managed to lift up the Geto statue and throw it up into space, getting rid of it forever. This is where, well, Naruto smiles and was next to Obito. Now, we go into, well, about 10-year time skip. Naruto is now 27. Naruto has 2 kids with Raven. And of course, this is where the 2 kids are very happy with what's called Naruto. Naruto is just a Jonin, not the Hokage, but Obito did become the Hokage. Even though his, he did have white, Hashirama cells inside him and all that. Mostly to heal him, but yeah. But of course, Kakashi didn't become, the 6th Hokage. Mostly it was Obito. So, of course, Obito did punish the hell out of Kakashi. But yeah. Of course, this is where, well, Naruto's pretty much the strongest, Jonin out there. And of course, this is where I'm gonna leave it off. Or not leave it off, end it off. For part 5 of What If Naruto Was Trained by Obito / Tobi. And yes. So of course, have a nice potato day, potato night, potato seed, potato, and bye. Potato.